Revelation 1903. From the 1st of May 1941. Conquering matter. Higher development of the soul. The soul should develop upwards and must at all times be able to detach itself from the world and its joys and sorrows. Only then will it have overcome matter. For then the will to ascend is stronger than the world. Only then can it mature and accept spiritual wealth, so that it no longer desires earthly things. The more difficult it finds it to climb up into the spiritual kingdom, the greater is its merit when it nevertheless covers the flight upwards. For by overcoming the resistances it gains strength, provided it invokes divine assistance. The will of the human being who decides to ascend will truly be rewarded. And what the soul gives up it receives back 1,000-fold. What it gives up is earthly fading, but what it receives is spiritual good which has eternal value. And therefore the human being should desire this spiritual good from the bottom of his heart, only then can it be offered to him. The meaning and purpose of earthly life is the soul's higher development, and this will always have to mean a struggle for the soul, since without struggle there is no progress. Something always has to be overcome in order to achieve success. Whose life now passes by without a struggle, his spiritual maturity is questioned, thus his life would have been lived uselessly. This is why the human being will never be granted a completely carefree earthly life, for this would be a lack of divine love for him. But God only has one goal, to educate spiritually mature beings, and therefore has to put them into a constant state of struggle so that they have the opportunity to mature. But people do not recognize this as a proof of God's love but mostly unwillingly accept the fate imposed on them. Yet struggling and suffering in submission only earns them the reward of higher development. Accepting everything as God's mission and trying to overcome it with the help of divine strength puts the soul into that state of maturity which is the goal of earthly life. For only then will it bow to God's will, only then will it submit itself and its will to its Creator, and only then will it recognize earthly pleasures as a danger which it had to overcome in order to thereby come closer to God. For the demand for strength earns him the radiance of divine love and unites him more intimately with God. Thus the human being can only find unity with God if he surrenders himself to Him without resistance by giving up everything for the sake of one goal: to reach God. The spirit is willing but the flesh is weak, and as long as the soul considers the body and thus turns its will towards it, the spirit which wants to ascend is gagged. Thus the soul must fight against the flesh, it must not respect its desires yet give the spirit freedom. The soul must willingly separate itself from the body in order to unite with the spirit, even if it costs struggle and appears unattractive. And this is the meaning and purpose of life, that the human being daily resists the desires of the body so that he may become its conqueror and give the spirit within him the freedom to soar up into the spiritual regions, to receive spiritual goods there and thus gather imperishable wealth for eternity. Amen.